Master Grade Blitz Gundam Clear version. When he's all put together, here's what you're gonna get, and you'll notice that there's really no color differentiation whatsoever. For a quick look at just a couple of the parts, you can see here that the more inner frame that it's going to have, the more yellowy it sort of appears on the inside, as opposed to the all clear on the outside. And something to be careful of is that the little parts here, like the things on the back of the ankles and on the side skirts, if they fall off here, usually before with the Blitz, you're going to have that color guide that's going to help you. So purple parts, you can look for purple parts, etc. Except here, you're just going to have the problem of clear parts falling off and not knowing exactly where they attach back onto. The chest is going to have the most plastic in it, and it is sort of cool though that you're still going to have the cockpit open up and a very tiny clear pilot on the inside. The clear shield is definitely going to have a different take compared to the very colorful one that you're going to be getting on the regular Blitz. And on the inside you can see all of the armaments and attachment points for the plastic. And for the shoulders, you definitely have to give this Mirage Colloid full props for working so well. And finally, here is the cloaked face, and every once in a while at just the right angle you can make out the eyes looking pretty cool there on the inside under the V-fin. And when he's all put together, not quite invisible, but definitely a very different effect for me. Usually I'm not somebody to buy convention exclusives or the recolors because I tend to like the kits just to be anime accurate. However, this one definitely just caught the eye, and it has certainly paid off, I'd say. It's not going to come across as being translucent as you'd like, but in some places, especially the V-fin and these thrusters on the back where you're just going to have one thin layer of plastic as opposed to the other parts, where you have the built-up layers, which is definitely worthy of it being a master grade. I also just have to wonder though, how would this stack up compared to an old non-grade one if that was done up all in clear? The clear polycaps though are going to look good on the inside, but with the old school non-grade without that inner frame, you might even be able to see through it even more. And this makes me want to go and put some rock sugar into my tea. And I can't help but wonder if there's going to be a Walter White joke at the end of this video. Yeah, that's not healthy. For the extra parts, you're going to have this very yellow wire though that's going to have this clear part on either end, and you are going to have the custom action base there, also done up in clear. That'll look really good on a clear action base one, and the various forefingers that you can swap on and off if you want to put in the weapons. Weaponized as you can expect. He's going to look even better though. The shield is definitely going to add a little bit more of that slightly, where you're just going to have that thin layer of clear on a few of the places, and especially the dart tips down there, even though they're not properly lined up at the moment, are going to set themselves across as being just a little bit clearer, similar to the V-fin and the thrusters on the back. And in terms of the launcher over on the left arm there, you can also see some cool parts. You've got to be very careful of this though, because there are going to be a lot of small finicky parts, and like I said, whether they're here on the side of the skirts or on the back there, when the clear parts fall off, well, they're all just going to look like clear parts, so you may have to search around to find where to put them back on. For comparison, here he is next to the regular Master Grade Blitz, which is again just one of the most colorful guys you're ever going to see in terms of the small color apps that they put on all over the place, which is just great in making him look very Master Grady again though, just where you can see these little tiny parts here, because they are all clear parts and they're not going to snap together, and the plastic is going to feel just a little bit more brittle. You can understand that they're going to feel just a little bit worse when you're attaching them on there, and you do sort of lose out on the fact that he's not going to have all those cool Master Grade color apps all over the place. But nonetheless, the idea of the two of them there together is just definitely going to lend itself to some pretty cool shelf display possibilities. And the displays don't just have to be Blitz related, he'd also look very cool as part of the Gang of Four next to the other seed Initial 4 bad guys led by the Aegis. And backed up by the beefed up duel with the Assault Shroud on. And the fun doesn't have to stop with Master Grade Blitz. If you want to take the old school non-grade 1/100th Amatsu, you can also have it doing what it does best and cloaking up the right part of the body there. And this is definitely the kind of thing where it just makes me want a Master Grade of the 1/100th gold frame Amatsu all the more, because right now it's not on there very well, just it's going to have quite a bit of separation, as the shoulders are going to be a slightly different diameter in terms of where you at least lock the shoulder part on. But still, the idea for this one is almost enough that you might want to pick up 2 of these kits. If you want to reverse things around the other way though, this arm from the old non-grade is going to fit on here pretty well, and you're just sort of setting up the opposite of what you'd normally expect for the cloaking. And if you wanted to take this to its logical conclusion, and if you don't mind sacrificing 2 kits to make 1, well, you definitely could build this whole thing. Here I'm just being lazy and just using the 2 limbs to swap them off there, but you could definitely go further and use a combination of the parts from the clear one and a combination of the parts from the regular colored one to do all sorts of cool things, and I think you could do up a very, very cool half and half version of this. You'd just have to choose some of the parts for the head and for the chest and waist section pretty carefully. Final thoughts, I've got to say that I sort of went into this kit pretty excited just because, again, for me, to have something be anime accurate is usually the most important thing. And when you take convention ones, they do add all sorts of cool things to it. But because this one is very, very logical, it just seemed like a perfect natural fit. And I've got to say that at the end of the day, I couldn't be more pleased with the results. First of all, you do have to be a little bit careful though in terms of negatives, that when you're putting it together, the pieces are going to be a little bit brittle. So when you put them together as clear parts, you just want to treat them with a little bit more care than you do with the regular plastic that you are used to on Gundam parts. Also, you have to be careful that when you lay out all the plates, they're all going to look the same. Little pieces fall off all over the place. You don't want to lose them too easily. So perhaps some glue, even, especially of the clear variety, is going to be your friend. In terms of the other positives though, I love the clear inner frame. The clear polycaps do an excellent job. The weapons are going to look good no matter what form you do it with. The only thing that's going to be a little bit of a downside is it didn't show off the yellow wire, but you can guess it's going to be a little bit cheesy in addition to the weight issues and all of the other issues that I mentioned in my review of the regular Master Grade Blitz. But in terms of what it is, and for the plus of just taking this and having all sorts of other play opportunities there, whether you're talking about the gold frame Amatsu, adding a clear arm onto it, or just swapping arms with the regular Blitz, you can do all sorts of cool things, and I gotta say that I'm more and more intrigued about the idea of a half one where you go up and down. The problem is you'd have to take 2 and then turn them into 1 and do a lot of rebuilding to do that. But if you wanted to go out and spend a couple more dollars, I'm sure that you could get your hands on both of these kits and put them together and build up something that would definitely catch anybody's eye on your shelf as he cloaks from, let's say, his right to left. So how about for future speculation? Can you see any special versions being made of the other Master Grade Seed bad guys? What about just clear pink versions or a chromed Arthur suit or things like that? Anything that you can imagine for the duel? What about a high-grade clear one? Or are there any other kits that could use the invisibility treatment similar to the Blitz as naturally? Anyway, everybody, would love to hear your comments about future speculation, and as always, let me know what you think of the video, the kit itself, and do you have any more ideas for cool things that you can do with a clear one like this? Just seems like it's definitely a plus over the 30th anniversary kits where you're going to get the parts, and it just seems like a lot of fun overall, and I hope you have a chance to give it a try. Anyway, everybody, as always, thanks for watching, and stick around for lots more news, reviews, and everything else you can use. See ya! Ah yes, missing parts. Where did this come from now? Look, Mr. White, if you're making this stuff, it's supposed to be clear. Otherwise, people aren't going to know what it is. This is what they want. They don't want to see the same thing than white, just painted up in blue.